Good day and welcome to another edition of Citizens Movement Radio News. Today is Thursday, the 12th of June 2025. I'm Bernard Stele, ready to bring you the latest news and updates. Here are today's headlines on Citizens Movement Radio News. Mnangagwa, a misleader, says President Chamisa. Youth call for Mnangagwa's removal to save Zimbabwe. Who is the puppet now, says Masaraure, following Mnangagwa's meeting with British Prime Minister. Now let's delve into the detailed stories. In a message which many believed is targeted on ZANU-PF dictator Emmerson Mnangagwa, Advocate Nelson Chamisa said leaders do not thrive on propaganda but the truth. In a seemingly veiled reference to Mnangagwa, Advocate Chamisa said there is no need for misleader who thrives on lies and misinformation to continue occupying leadership roles. President Chamisa's words were echoed by former Lubengula Magwegwe MP, Honorable Eric Gono, who said Mnangagwa does not deserve to continue as the country's president beyond 2028. Gono said,
"The People's President, Advocate Nelson Chamisa, has called on liars and misleaders to immediately vacate the roles of leadership. This is a direct attack on Mr. Mnangagwa, who has been lying through his teeth since his rise to power through a coup d'etat in 2017. Mr. Mnangagwa has made so many lies. If you go back to the template of the 2023 election campaign, he promised so many things that he has failed to deliver. He promised Zimbabweans that there's going to be better hospitals, but people are dying every day because of maladministration of hospitals. He promised the people of Zimbabwe that there's going to be serious improvement in education, but lecturers at the Zimbabwe's biggest university for the past 60 days not been going to work in protest of poor remuneration. He promised the youth that there's going to be a massive job creation, but the young people of Zimbabwe are in fact massively attacked by illicit drugs that are being produced and sold by members of the ruling elite. So the president was literally telling Mr. Mnangagwa that his time is up. It's time for genuine leadership. It's time for true leadership for this country. It's time to rescue the people of Zimbabwe, especially the younger generation that the current government is deliberately destroying so that it can maintain its hegemony on power.
Youths have called for ZANU-PF dictator Emmerson Mnangagwa's removal for the country to move forward. Some of the youths who spoke to Citizens Movement Radio said Mnangagwa has failed to fulfill his 2 million job electoral promise. Some accused Mnangagwa of presiding over a corrupt system and said his continued stay in power beyond 2028 would ruin the country. Let's hear them speaking.
As the young people of this country, we demand for the removal of Emmerson Mnangagwa because he has no modicum of shame and modicum of sincerity. He is dishonest. He lied to the people of this country that there will be 2 million jobs for the people of this country, which particularly affect the young people. But that did not materialize. So we as the young people, we think that Emmerson Mnangagwa should resign.
Maswera sei zvishuwa panyaya yaMnangagwa ka tagara tinotaura kuti nyika ino yaZimbabwe kuti tibvise utongi hweudzvanyiri huri kuitwa neZANU-PF zvinoda kuti vanhu vese muZimbabwe tibatane senyika, kusanganisira vanhu vese vari kudhayasipora nekumwe kwese nekuno, then tikabatana kandokuti tikwanise kubvisa ZANU-PF pachigaro. Izvozvo vaMnangagwa izvozvo vakundikana hatidi kunyeperana. Vakundikana mabasa muZimbabwe hamuchisina, vanhu vese tava mavhenda, titori mavhenda. Izvozvo kutoenda paWhatsApp chaicho kwakutodhura muZimbabwe, kutenga dhata riri kutodhura, handirika. Saka muchatoona kuti vanhu vanoenda pamasocial media vaya vanhu vashomanana because zvinhu zvakudhura manje, dhata racho riri kudhura, mafoni ari kudhura, mabasa hakuna. Saka chinotodiwa manje munyika ino yeZimbabwe kuti vanhu tinyatsobatana, vechidiki vese nevakuru vese, tobatana totsigira mutungamiriri umwe chete akaisa savapurezidendi wachamisa. Ndosaka muchiona vachamisa vanogara vakashungurudzwa vachivharirwa matwitter account yavo vachiitwa sezvese because ZANU-PF inoziva kuti murume uyu anodiwa nevanhu veZimbabwe kuti atonge nyika inoi. Ndega munhu anotodiwa wachamisa iwayo. Saka muchiona vachigara vakashungurudzwa neZANU-PF animwa. Saka suka ngatibatanei ndochinhu chekutanga tikabatana sevanhu veZimbabwe tikabatana kwese kwatiri kungave kupi tokunyatsobatana tinokwanisa kukurira ZANU-PF neutongi hwayo hweudzvanyiriri hwoumhondi handitika. Saka mhuri yeZimbabwe ndinokumbirisa kwazvo kuti dai tabatana tikanyatsobatana chaizvo aiwa tinokurira tibvise ZANU-PF otherwise hapana kwatiri kuenda.
Mhuri yeZimbabwe mufaro wangu kutaurawo pano isu semayuthi takabatana tikaona kuti vaMnangagwa vanofanirwa kuchienda kumudyandegere kana kutsvaga zvimwe zvekuita, nekuti pawaitsvaga rutsigiro wakati uipisa vanhu wakati ndichakupai mabasa 2 million jobs asi hatinaona zvichizadzikiswa, uye kuramba kwavo vari mupawa kana kuti kuramba kwavo vachinge vari pautungamiri kana kusvika kunoona 2028 hakuna zvakuchabatsira, nekuti kuchangoramba kuchikonzeresa kubiwa kwezviri kubiwa muno munyika ende kuchawedzera kuti nyika ino yeZimbabwe iparare. Ndatenda.
Yesterday, ZANU-PF dictator Emmerson Mnangagwa met with British Prime Minister of State for Africa Ray Collins at the State House. Veteran trade unionist Obed Masaraure said the British are patrons of Mnangagwa's coup government who financed the 2017 military takeover of power from Robert Mugabe. Masaraure said it is ironic that ZANU-PF labels civil society and opposition as puppets of the West when they are the ones whining and dining with the same, Masaraure said.
Yes, it is hypocritical for the ZANU-PF government, the ZANU-PF establishment, to continue to label all those who oppose them as puppets of the West, when we are all so much aware that the creation of ZANU-PF itself was a project of the West. We know how the West celebrated when ZANU-PF won the elections in 1980, beating the ZAPU, which was viewed to be sponsored by Russia. So, but then obviously when they had a fallout with Robert Mugabe, they then came in again and rescued their project through engineering a coup that established Emmerson Mnangagwa. Emmerson Mnangagwa, a proper puppet of the West, a rabid neoliberal. That's why he is getting all the support from the IMF, all the endorsements that he is getting. It is their project. But what are our interests as a people? Our interest as a people are to complete the liberation project. So the visit of the British minister responsible for African affairs, I don't know why they would need such a minister in the first place, but it's a clear sign that we still have a neo-colonial order to deal with, which unfortunately is being sustained by the likes of Emmerson. So as long as such a combrado remains in office, we will have to deal with all the vices of the neo-colonial project. So we urge ZANU-PF to desist from the sick culture of unnecessarily labeling citizens who are demanding basics as puppets of the West, when we know what the real puppet is. And we call upon the citizens to unite and fight against neoliberalism, fight against the hegemony of the neo-colonial order, and establish a new order that benefits the collective.
Reports are that former Mugabe Foreign Affairs Minister Walter Mzembe yesterday privately sneaked into the country and met with Emmerson Mnangagwa. Mzembe fled into exile in 2018 and has a pending $2 million corruption case still before the courts. Political analyst Simba Mkori said ZANU-PF factions might be warming up towards reunion ahead of 2028 general elections. He also warned the opposition to put its house in order before the election season in order to stand a chance against a united ZANU-PF front, Mukori said.
Indeed, there are reports that the former Mugabe Foreign Affairs Minister, Walter Muzembe, yesterday privately sneaked into the country and had a private meeting with the octogenarian Emerson Mnangagwa. And it seems like there is some political realignments that are taking place with those that were ousted out of ZANU-PF now desiring to come and join the kleptocratic grave train. We must not also forget that there are allegations leveled against Muzembe that he had a corruption case pending at the courts of about 2 million. And we see these factions warming up to each other towards the 2028 general elections. This might actually spell doom to the democracy, peace-loving Zimbabweans who have been cherishing, who have been desirous of a democratic, prosperous Zimbabwe under a different political dispensation. The realignment and the reconfiguration of ZANU-PF with those factions closing ranks actually means that if the opposition is not going to put its house in order before election season, then we are likely to be with the ZANU-PF for the foreseeable future. These people who were ousted, the likes of Muzembe, have tested the ordinary realities, the ordinary lives of the people of Zimbabwe who do not have access to political connections, access to political advantages. These were people who were used to be living in opulence, living in leafy suburbs, dining in those most elite and upmarket premium hotels, driving around with escorts, police escorts, and being guarded by the police. So the moment that they were chucked out of this kleptocratic administration, they noticed that life is not easy. Worse off with a situation whereby they do not have an alternative from which to launch a formidable force against their nemesis, Mnangagwa. ZANU-PF is likely to be remaining in power if the opposition is not going to reunite, reorganize, reinstitute, and reconstitute themselves, bringing together all those that are pro-democracy. ZANU-PF has the ability to rejuvenate and resuscitate itself by bringing back all those that they would have cast out. Why is it difficult for those who are pro-democracy, for those who are in opposition, to also bury the hatchets and reconfigure and reunite themselves, close ranks and reunite ahead of the 2028 general elections, so that you give the people of Zimbabwe hope. The people of Zimbabwe are desirous of transparency, accountability, prosperity that uplifts everybody. But without unity of the opposition forces, this is not going to be possible. ZANU-PF is uniting. We might actually be having a situation whereby Jonathan Moyo is on his way, Kasukuwere is on his way, and all those people that have fallen out of ZANU-PF might be on their way coming to rejoin ZANU-PF. Why is the opposition failing to do the same, especially now that 2028 will be around the corner? So I encourage and want the opposition to put its house in order before election season in order to stand a chance against this tyrannical, kleptocratic, and kakistocratic ZANU-PF.
Citizens President Advocate Nelson Chamisa yesterday attended birthday celebrations of British monarch King Charles at the British Ambassador's house in Harare. MPs and government officials also attended the celebrations. Harare Youth Quota MP Honorable Takudzwa Ngadziwore said it was crucial for President Chamisa as the country's genuine alternative to attend the event to solidify relations with the international community. Ngadziwore said Zimbabwe needs to have home relations with all progressive nations in order to develop. 4 human rights defenders who were abducted at Robert Gabriel Mugabe International Airport last year were back in court today for continuation of trial for trumped-up charges of disorderly conduct. The 4, who are Robson Chere, Namatai Kwekweza, Samuel Gwenzi, and Vusimusi Moyo, are jointly charged with a host of other activists. It's almost a year since their arrest, but the trial has been moving at a small pace due to numerous postponements. We spoke to Chere for the latest from court, and he said,
"Today we have appeared before Harare Magistrate Court, facing charges of disorderly conduct. Myself, Namatai Kwekweza, Samuel Gwenzi, Vusimuzi Moyo, Emmanuel Stima, and other human rights defenders, where we are being charged with disorderly conduct, which is emanating from the 31st of July when we were abducted at Robert Mugabe International Airport, tortured, and then thrown into prison for 35 days. The case was not yet before the court today. It was postponed to 30 June. The court cited that it was busy also with other issues. So we are hoping that when we go back to the court on the 30th of June, the case will resume.
The National Prosecution Authority, NPA, has withdrawn corruption charges against ZANU-PF activists Mike Chimombe and Moses Mpofu on their case of US $9 million streetlights tender. The duo remain behind bars as they are facing another case of US $87 million GOAT tender, which they failed to supply. Chimombe and Mpofu have now clocked 11 months in prison. An Air India Boeing 787 Dreamliner flying from Ahmedabad International Airport to London Gatwick Airport with 242 people on board has crashed in a residential area. The aircraft climbed to 625 feet before going down. Less than a minute after takeoff, our reporter sent in this latest update.
Good evening. A major developing story out of India tonight. A Boeing 787 Dreamliner has crashed en route to London. A major emergency operation is underway in Ahmedabad. Shocking vision is coming out of the impact zone, and we warn these pictures are confronting. This is the moment AI-171 crashed onto a medical college moments after takeoff. 242 people were on board, including 53 British nationals. Let's go straight to Nine's Europe correspondent Edward Godfrey at Gatwick Airport in London. Edward, details are still emerging, but what do we know so far?
Yeah, Natalia, this is developing quite quickly, but more information is coming out. We know that this flight was due to land here at Gatwick Airport in about 5 hours' time, scheduled to land just after 6 p.m. This evening. We know that the Air India flight took off from Ahmedabad Airport in West India around 1:38 p.m. local time and got into trouble seemingly virtually immediately. Footage shows the Boeing 787 Dreamliner descending and then crashing into a residential neighbourhood just outside the airport's perimeter. The scene on the ground is absolutely shocking. A huge amount of smoke and fire can be seen. This aircraft, this very large aircraft, fully fuelled for the long journey to the UK, that journey about 9 hours long. It crashed into a doctor's hostel on the ground, so there will be victims on the ground as well as those on board. Some footage shows the tail of the aircraft sticking out the top of one of the buildings. We're told 100 bodies have been recovered from the scene, but there is a long way to go, and that difficult work continues there on the ground. We have some more information about who was on board. As you say, 242 people total, 230 passengers and 12 crew. Of the passengers, there were 53 Britons, 169 Indian nationals, 7 from Portugal and 1 Canadian. We're also told there were 11 children among the passengers on board. There is no information at this early stage indicating there were any Australian citizens, but this is still very early on, we must stress. We have heard from the airline. The Air India chairman has said, "It's with profound sorrow I confirm that Air India flight AI-171 operating Ahmedabad London Gatwick was involved in a tragic accident today. Our thoughts and deepest condolences are with the families and loved ones of all these affected by this devastating event. At this moment, our primary focus is on supporting all the affected people and their families families. We're doing everything in our power to assist the emergency response teams at the site and to provide all necessary support and care to those impacted. We know that this Air India flight, as I say, took off around 1:38 p.m. local time. The last signal from the aircraft, Natalia, came just seconds after takeoff. It reached an altitude of 625 feet before coming down.
Edward, we've heard from both the Indian and UK leaders this evening.
We have lots of messages coming through. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said the tragedy in Ahmedabad has stunned and saddened us. It is heartbreaking beyond words. In this sad hour, my thoughts are with everyone affected by it. I've been in touch with ministers and authorities who are working to assist those affected. We've also heard from UK Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer saying the scenes emerging of a London-bound plane carrying many British nationals crashing in the Indian city of Ahmedabad are devastating. My thoughts are with the passengers and their families at this deeply distressing time. Natalia, just some further information we have. We understand both pilots on board this flight had at least 9,000 hours of flying experience. It's believed to be the first fatal crash involving a Boeing 787 Dreamliner. Here at Gatwick Airport, support services are being set up. This is where this flight was due to land just after 6 o'clock this evening. In about 5 hours' time, a reception area is going to be set up for any loved ones, family members and friends who are going to come here to meet their loved ones arriving here. That'll be here to assist those people and to help them get some information as well. Natalia.
Edward, thank you.
In COSAFA Cup matches played yesterday, Eswatini fell 2-1 to Tanzania, while Botswana drew 3-0 with Zambia. All the four teams exited the competition despite the results. In semi-finals, Angola will meet Madagascar, while South Africa takes on Comoros. In a move that has been widely viewed as an attempt to capture one of the country's biggest football clubs, Wycliffe Chivayo has pledged US $1 million per year support to Highlanders FC. Chivayo, who is unpopular among citizens for corruption, said he has already donated US $250,000 to the club for its day-to-day operations. Highlanders supporter and MP for Hwange Central, Honorable Daniel Molokeli, said big clubs like Highlanders must be self-reliant instead of having their brand sold by corrupt individuals like Chivayo. To conclude our Citizens Movement Radio News, here are the headlines once more. Mnangagwa, a misleader, says President Chamisa. Youths call for Mnangagwa's removal to save Zimbabwe. Who is the puppet now, says Masaraure, following Mnangagwa's meeting with British minister. The news on CMR English. I'm Bernard Stele, me and all the CMR crew wishes you all a good night.